Oh, hey guys. I didn't notice you there. You know, there's a proposed ban on that SS-109, so I figured I'd cash in on it and get them all painted up nice and neat for the next gun show, you know, and see what I can do. Hey guys, I didn't see you there. What I'm trying to do here is cash in on the latest SS-109 scare. There's a proposed ban on this ammunition. I saw some of the retailers have jacked their price up 2 and 3 times, so I figured if I had my green paint here, I'll make the next gun show. I might be able to make a few bucks real quick. Some of this YouTube production gets kind of pricey. My only concern with this paint, it enhances the performance characteristic of this round so much. I might go through 50 feet of earthen berm, so I might have to do some dirt work. So that's why I'm trying to sell it. Once I enhance it like this, I really have no place to use it. So anyway, something to think about when you go to the next gun show. Just to show you the striking difference between standard 223 55 grain full metal jacket ball ammunition versus SS-109/855 green tip government surplus ammunition. We're going to go ahead and load them accordingly. We'll put the green tip in first because we're going to shoot him second. Let's go ahead, load it up. Get my ears on. We've got our standard military issue test equipment downrange. We have 2 cantaloupes. They were hard to find, but they're rated for 5.56. Go ahead, shoot that ball round, target on the left, and see what it looks like. As you can see, standard ball is kind of a depressing thing. Kind of went punched right through, but now, going to the SS-109/855 green tip, target on the right. So there you have it. Enhanced ammunition. I'm willing to share it with you for only $300 per 20, or 3 easy installments of $100. And if you do now subscribe to Miculek.com, I'll throw in an extra round. So there you have it, guys. 3 easy payments or a one-time payment of only $300 per 20. Okay, guys, you like to have fun and everything, but let's really get down to the issue of what SS-109 or M855 ammo is. And I've got one section here. It's actually about a 62 grain 22 caliber projectile. It has a hardened steel penetrator in the front. As you can see here, it looks to be about 1/3 of the bullet, and behind it is a lead core. It's got a relatively thick jacket on it. Most military ammunition has a thick jacket because it has to sustain itself through eroded bores, very hot environment, machine gun fire. The barrels could be smoking hot, so that really affects the actual bullet construction a lot. So the thick jacket is a pretty much a mandatory thing. The reason they came up with that little penetrator in the front, the original 55 grain ball 223 round was a little bit inadequate in barrier penetration. So what they wanted to do was give the soldier in the field a little bit more penetration quality. And when they did that, it actually went to the other side of the spectrum. The bullet was so hard and so stable, they also changed the bullet twist. When the original M16 came out, it was a twist in 14. It was made for that 55 grain full metal jacket round. It was marginally accurate, but the idea behind it was when that bullet hit a soft target, it had a tendency to get sideways. And what was really their goal behind the whole issue there was if this bullet got sideways, the cantilever that you see here midway of the projectile would actually start to frag, and if the bullet inverted completely, it was like a big soft point. So if you had an unstable bullet, when it hit a soft tissue, it had a tendency to get sideways, maybe break up, and do a lot of damage. The green tip on soft targets was just the opposite. It's fired now in a standard twist rate of a 1 in 7. So it's a very stable, it's a very hard bullet. It has a tendency to go in a straight line. So what they found on soft targets, that it has a tendency to shoot through and through and not do too much damage. So the current elevation of the military round is what they call an 855A1 or 1A, if I'm not mistaken. It's actually an enhanced penetration round. Instead of having it's a totally green bullet, it has a gilding metal body with a hardened steel penetrator on the front. And the whole idea behind that round was to give the soldier more penetration, but it also has more soft tissue, soft target effect. So it wants to start tumbling even sooner. So that's an issue that the Americans have come up with, and they're trying to address it. So the government is actually getting away from this ammunition. It's less than what they want. That's one reason you find a lot of surplus on the market. They're in their own revamp of that bullet design. Give you an idea what the Soviets have done. Their latest concoction is the 545 round, 545 by 39. It's also about a 60 grain bullet. It has a steel core in it. If I'm not mistaken, this ammunition was recently banned from importation. So I had to take one apart and actually see what it was. So in doing so, I noticed Soviets are being crafty like they are. If you notice, the front of the projectile here actually has an air space. And what they're trying to do is, with this long projectile with a relatively thin jacket with the airspace in the front, even though it's a full metal jacket, if that nose starts to deflect in any which fashion, any which way, the projectile has a tendency to get sideways very quick. It does have a steel center in it. I'll go ahead and see if I can take it out of there, show it to you. But what I was really surprised at is that the steel core was actually very soft. It was very easy to cut with a hacksaw. So it's not a hardened steel penetrator, and I think the reason they manufacture it with a steel core is for the economic factor of it. It's a lot easier to make something out of metal than it is out of lead. So there you have the 545 by 39 Soviet round with the airspace, just a little bit of lead on the front, and I think that's just to facilitate accuracy. So that's that round. We'll go back to a World War II issue round. This is the old black tip 30-06 round, pretty much standard machine gun use, M1 Garand, 03 Springfields. It actually has a hardened steel penetrator in it, and you can see by the construction, it's probably 80% of the actual bullet is a hardened steel penetrator. And what's really interesting, I got a file here, give you an idea just how hard this is. When you file it, it doesn't hardly scratch the metal at all. So it's a really super hard piece of steel. It's been tempered. It's drawn with a jacket, has a little bit of lead in the front, and I think that's also for an accuracy issue to help center it during the manufacture. It's got a cap on the end of it. So that's a 30 caliber AP round. That's a true AP round, by the way. Here's a 50 caliber BMG, a standard ball round. Most ball rounds have a mild steel core in them, and this one is very soft. You can see where the hacksaw cut it when I was cutting through the jacket, and you can hear it with a file. Cuts it relatively easy. And I think one of the reasons they use that is just for manufacturing ease. Steel is cheaper than lead, so they use it in that fashion. So the whole idea behind the original M16 round, guys, was they wanted the soldier to have about a 3-to-1 ratio. He could carry 3 rounds compared to the old 30-06 round. The 55 grain ball round in the original M16 issue was made to be unstable, so it had more soft target effectiveness. They wanted to get away from the super stabilized 30 caliber rounds that just made a hole. So carry more rounds, more effect on soft tissue. Through the years, the government has evolved the 5.56 round to be pretty much a match of the 30 caliber. It's got a hard bullet, it's overstabilized, it has a tendency to shoot straight through. So in the actual green tip form, I would say it's almost less lethal. It's way less lethal than, say, a 77 grain open tip match projectile, which that is. And it's actually has a very limited value. So we like it because it's cheap to get. Government surplus. Some of the spec runs that they manufacture for the government doesn't make quite government spec, and they sell it off cheap. So we get it on the range. We like to burn it up. So nothing wrong with it. It's good American-made ammo, but it has its limitations. Okay, guys, what you got to remember, knowledge is power. Research what SS-109 is. It's considered an enhanced penetration round, not an armor-piercing round. So it doesn't really meet the criteria of what the federal government says it might be. So what I need you to do, guys, is research the ammunition, research who to contact. There's a lot of good organizations out there, the Second Amendment Foundation, the NSSF. If I'm not mistaken, you can go on the internet and you'll find a phone number for the BATF, and there's places you can voice your opinion. But you have to remember, guys, knowledge is power. If you just call up and you're rude and you don't know what you're talking about, you're absolutely worthless. So research it, be kind, be courteous, and be informed. Get an organization, get as many of your buddies as you can to support the effort. And if we can stop this ban before it actually takes off, once it happens, it'll probably never be repealed. So knowledge is power, guys. I would like for you to subscribe to Miculek.com. and like us on Facebook. You'll see a link in the description box below with all the places that I've found that you can contact to help us with this project.